I do not know whether or not the upload of Zombie Stage in the last bit of June/Pride was pro-Pride or anti-Pride with how Zombie Stage already started out. But I will say, that was great. I was pleasantly surprised. I really had low expectations for what Zombie Stage was going to be. I'm not as deep into the creator's lore to know if this was intended to be a series after Alien Stage or if it came after the project had already started or what. But I will say that a lot of the time, I am very disappointed by secondary series. I just don't like them a lot of the times. Most of the time, they're not really fleshed out. So I was super pleasantly surprised that it wasn't like a regurgitated Alien Stage and it wasn't a new series that was trying to be so far away from the original that it kind of lost the purpose of being a series related to the original. So super pleasantly surprised. Anyway, Mizzy Sua, my god, I didn't know what route they were going to take with round one and how the rounds were even going to work out, what the concept really was. I kind of was going in like, oh, I see the teaser, I wonder what it's going to be, and that's the extent of it. So I'm going to kind of go into like what I took away from things with theories and yada yada and all that jazz. So the series starts out pretty strong in the sense of I'm already invested, like what happened, because we see a dead rat, we see crying Mizzy who's also injured, and we see Sua and they're all staring at the rat. And obviously there's like a full story to what happened there and why things ended up the way that they did, because Sua's here consoling crying Mizzy and this dead rat. But in a way it already alludes to like, oh, like here they are as young, like very full of humanity, compassion, and all of that, both of them. I mean, more so Mizzy than Sua, which is woo. But anyway, the sense of like the overall theme and like world that they're in, the fact that it switched between the rat to then a human that turned into a zombie, like that was a whole parallel of like, oh, like should we have compassion in humanity even for like these creatures type thing. And I thought that was a good like, oh, okay, we're just jumping right into it of like disgusting rat, disgusting zombie. Like that's the comparison that I'm assuming the world is taking with them, you know? So in either way, we jump right into it where we understand what the circus kind of is. It's basically like zombies put up in rounds and they have to perform, even though they're like literally rotting and they're supposed to be this type of entertainment. And people make merch of it, they make teams of it, they make like fan clubs of it. It's a whole thing. And instead of the Alien Stage super slow song between the two, which while very sentimental, it was refreshing to see like, oh, like this is what they are, like high energy, this is what they are, like interactive, and with these bright, flashy type of costumes rather than their quiet love between each other. And that it was very different. This was something that they were always wanting to do together, like even when they were humans and not rotting, like this was their choreography. So obviously this was a long time dream that they had. It's just now warped into this horrible, horrible reality. And then we see Mizzy and Sua in the past, and we see that they have been really intimate with each other, and they graduate, and Mizzy's like, yo, here's like one other shot that we have, and they do it, but only one gets through, not the other. And there's some tension with it on both sides, I think, but definitely more on the side of Mizzy going without Sua. But Sua's so supportive, as she is as a supportive girlfriend, and she pushes her and encourages her to go on, and Mizzy almost like looks back in the sense of, I can do it for the both of us. And it's really cute and really sweet. And then the fact that it switches drastically to the like present and immediately jumps into like, oh, here's Mizzy again, and she's completely blind, she has no eyes, and she's not aware of like the target situation that she's putting herself into. And there's these men that are basically like putting her in a specific place. I will also say it was interesting to see this tiny difference of like Mizzy doesn't even have like the blue hair that she had dyed herself in this series. Like she almost loses more autonomy because she got into the K-pop industry herself and had to follow a very strict expectation of how to present herself and carry herself. So it was interesting to see that in Alien Stage, she has the blue hair and she has that freedom to like change herself, at least at the bare minimum. But then in Zombie Stage, nah, that doesn't happen. No, sir. And she has no autonomy for when her eyes are even removed when she does become a zombie. It's kind of hopping between the past and the present of Mizzy losing that sense of like self, and she's just having to kind of perform a role, fit a specific place, do these specific poses, expose herself more often. It's very obvious of like she's catering to the male gaze, she's doing what she needs to do to stay relevant as an idol. And I think one thing that I thought was interesting when I was also even rewatching it was that every single time that Mizzy is posing with a man in a suggestive way or implied way, she's not falling into it. She is kind of trying to have as much control as she can. Like she even grabs one of the guys. And I think it's so interesting because it's such a show that she does not like this. She does not want to be here. And she feels that exhaustion And you can kind of see it when Sua is handing her like flowers and Mizzy just passively hands it off to his staff. And it's just at that point of being so numb to everything because she's so burnt out of portraying herself in this way that she doesn't want to. I also thought it was really intentional to have the body parts that are implied, I think, right now to be auctioned off and like basically selling yourself, and like there's Mizzy also selling herself as an idol, you know? I thought that was like an interesting play. And I don't know if the eyes are going to be like a symbolic thing where it's like now she cannot see what she has become, / she can't see the environment that she's in, so she's finally like blissed out. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, it flashes again back and it shows like how numb she is to everything and how she just doesn't care anymore. She doesn't care about herself, and she's trying to smoke, and then Sua's like, what the heck are you doing? And when Sua is confronting her about it, she ends up hitting Sua. The fact that Sua consoles her and so comforts her and tries to kind of ground her back to reality, and she immediately has this like visceral reaction. And I can't really tell if they're doing the symbolic thing of like Mizzy's old self and her present self kind of colliding in this like tragic way of like, I'm not what you wanted me to be, or if they're doing the other route, which very well could be of a flashback to the rat scene and her mom maybe even being involved in some capacity. I don't know. It's definitely going to be something that they're going to explain later. But for the time being, whatever it was got to Mizzy, and she starts bawling, you know, and she finally shows emotion after a certain period of time, but she's overwhelmed by it and she runs off. And again, like in Alien Stage, Mizzy and Sua end up in a fight that ends up with them separated, but then they never get to really resolve it in a way that probably would be healthy for both of them. So there she goes, and then it's implied like, okay, zombie outbreak, the news is talking about it and all that jazz. And then finally, we see Sua find her girl incarcerated / like put into a little town of zombies implied, and she sees Mizzy in this condition of being infected and also no longer having her eyes. It was interesting in the sense of in the original Alien Stage series, we see that Sua wasn't strong enough to live without Mizzy, and she kind of did this whole sacrificial thing. She knew that she was going to die, and that was explicitly known to even Mizzy. And in this universe, she's the same way, where she doesn't know how to live without Mizzy. So because she doesn't know how to live without Mizzy, she's like, well, I'm gonna get infected and I'm gonna get one last kiss again. And she kisses Mizzy, and that's implied like that's how she got infected. I've even seen art, and I don't know if it is gonna end up being the case or not, where Mizzy probably even bit that part of her face off, but it's undetermined. And we see in the overall too that Mizzy is a lot less aware and conscious, and we don't totally know whether or not she's like just rotted and her brain no longer functions, or if she's just kind of so numb to it in this industry even more as a zombie, no less. So that's why she's kind of acting and doing the things that she is, whereas Sua's much more conscious and trying to be initiating affection and like closeness. And then we see Hyuna really quick, and it's kind of implied that she's terrified with this whole situation, and maybe she'll end up doing a big change. I mean, the trailer kind of hinted at that too, where she wants to make things better, and that was kind of her whole motive in Alien Stage 2, where she wanted to make things better for everyone. And so we'll see. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, but it snaps back to Mizzy again winning. But this time, it's not like Alien Stage where they get murdered. It's kind of implied that they lose a body part. And then in a way, it kind of was like losing a part of yourself to the entertainment industry. Like, Mizzy's already done, and she's now done twice. The second time, she lost her eyes for it. And now Sua is kind of being introduced to this industry, and this is her first time losing something of it. So I did actually watch Karma to just see if there was any parallels. I was also very curious if the hand that was cut off was the same hand that was holding Mizzy up, and I did see it wasn't. However, I did notice that the hand that was cut off was the hand that was holding both of them up. And maybe it's just that thing of like, oh, the curtains are blue, it represents sadness that I'm doing right now, but I just thought it was interesting because it's like, now she's not holding either of them up. Now they're both falling down and losing their humanity. And I thought like the way that it showed the rat at the end was kind of an implication of that too, where no one's showing compassion or humanity between either of them. Top of that too, it's kind of hinted that Mizzy gasped, where it either might imply she was finally aware of everything that was happening, or she kind of snapped back to reality. I don't know. Who's to say? I think that was a good cliffhanger. And then obviously the biggest cliffhanger of making Ivan show up for the last second. I mean, come on. That was a good cliffhanger. Overall, the series was really interesting. Like, this first episode is really strong, and I'm really curious of what they're going to continue pulling out. And I will say I was wrong, and I'm excited to see what else will come out of it.